All right, welcome back to the TMCJ Podcast. We are now on segment 3, a wild card segment, and Blue, you have something to lead us off with on this one, I believe.
Yep, it's the eclectic zone, and the eclecticism today is Christmas, and it's still 2 months away from Christmas Day, almost to the day. But is it alright to A, listen to Christmas music, B, eat Christmas food, and C, put up decorations for Christmas this early?
So, I can answer this unequivocally from a U.S. perspective. The answer is no. And the reason the answer is no, at least in the U.S., is it is considered kind of a faux pas here to do any of that stuff prior to Thanksgiving being completed.
Okay, yeah, we don't really have that. I was going to say that. We just don't have that event.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving happens on the 4th Thursday of November. And so it's the end of November usually. This month, or this year, I think it's the 27th. So until that date, it's considered a little bit weird to be doing that ahead of time.
It is over here as well, but I used to work in a large shop, and we would sell Christmas products before we sold Halloween products, which I thought was crazy.
That is kind of odd.
But people will buy it, so we will put it out. Is essentially the ethos.
Yeah, I mean, I could see buying, stuff ahead of time so that you're ready for it. Like, buy Christmas lights before.
So, it was a pretty big supermarket. You've been around it.
I have, yeah.
There would be, every day, 2 whole pallets of just mince pies before December per day.
Maybe they like pies.
Like, we love mince pies. I've got mince pies next to me right now. That's why I kind of was thinking about this originally. And, I mean... Go on.
And I just for clarity's sake for the audience, because I know a good chunk of them are from the U.S., we don't really have pies like that here. So
really, mince pies?
It's like a meat pie. We have them, but I think they're called something different.
Not meat pie.
Is it? What kind is it? See, I don't even know what it is.
A mince pie is like a fruity, sugary, little tiny pie. The things that I just sent you, those are mince pies.
Yeah.
They got fruit in them. I think they do have mince in them, but it's like I should really read. Hang on, I've got the box right next to me. Mince meat filling is 46%, but then there's sugar apple puree, bunch of things, raisins, glucose syrup, apricot filling. So a bunch of fruit, but also mincemeat.
God. Okay. Minus the sugar, that actually sounds really good. Like the fruit, just the fruit and chopped up meat. That does, but also it does sound like a very festive food. Not really something.
It's not meaty at all though. Like you don't, when you eat one, you don't think, there's meat in here. Nah, not at all.
Okay.
But yeah, like they're very, very popular, and it's kind of like how everyone only eats goose on like 1 or 2 times a year. If it tastes good, eat it all year round if it's available. Is my opinion.
Well, that's I guess there are certain foods and beverages that are kind of seasonally locked. But I don't think. I don't know. I'm one of those people who I'll eat like breakfast at like 9 o'clock at night, and I'll have like steak for breakfast in a day. Like,
yeah, but we're heathens.
That's what I'm saying. I'm probably not the right person to like comment necessarily on this stuff like equivocally, but I can say that there are people who like just they will be massively offended by the fact that there happens to be Christmas lights out, or somebody's having like a, I don't know, what's a holiday dish here?
What's the Thanksgiving?
Well, turkey mostly.
It's turkey.
Turkey
okay,
and ham. turkey and ham. And then there's a type of cranberry.
Okay.
Like some kind of cranberry sweet dish, like a pie or a tart.
Do you have Christmas puddings over there then?
Uh,
Really? Oh my god. To be fair, Christmas
maybe.
puddings
Like, is it like pudding? Like just like a chocolate
It's-
pudding or something?
It's okay, like imagine, in fact they quite often do it this way. Imagine like a bowl, right?
Yeah.
And you flip the bowl upside down, and that's kind of the shape of it. It's like an upside down bowl shape.
We do.
Uh,
We do have them.
it's like
We don't really.
black and you set them on fire.
Okay, we do have them. I know what you're talking about. I don't know that we call them necessarily Christmas puddings or puddings in general.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of
And
what
there's... Go on.
this may also be a regional thing, because what different foods are called and what foods are actually had at different holidays and stuff does vary quite widely across the U.S.
There's a tradition as well that you put a coin inside of the Christmas pudding,
Oh, nice.
and whoever gets that gets good luck or something. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, unless they
choke.
choke on it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's kind of like the Kinder Egg argument, though. I mean, America's not got Kinder Eggs because they're afraid that the kids are just going to eat the egg so fast that they choke on the toy inside. We're fine with them.
Yeah, okay. So this
America,
yeah.
you got to slow down.
I will say that yeah, my country definitely has some some flaws with the intelligence of their child products. One of the a perfect example is there was a car seat that came out in the mid to early 2000s,
Yeah.
and it was recalled for severing children's fingers, right?
Jesus.
Because of the buckle, but it was only recalled in the U.S. because it only happened in the U.S. So
dear.
all I can think is there's just some fucking dumbass parent who crushed their kid's hand in a seatbelt buckle. Sorry, that got very grim. We're talking about Christmas here,
Yeah.
but like it. Okay, I admit, like the whole Kinder Egg thing, exact same thing. Again, for those that don't know, because they aren't. I didn't even know what the hell they were, because I'd never heard of them at all before.
Yeah.
But Kinder Eggs are these little chocolate eggs that come with. They have a toy inside of them of some kind.
Yeah.
It's like an Easter egg.
The toy comes within like a little plastic thing as well. Like it's a large enough plastic thing that I would very much struggle to swallow.
Yeah.
As a fully grown man, I would very much struggle to swallow one of these plastic shells. But I
Yeah.
suppose someone could.
Yeah, you never know. Kids will eat anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, again, only banned in the U.S. because I think it has something to do with the way our food and drug laws are written, less so that they're afraid people are going to choke on them.
Right.
I
like
think
putting plastic in food is just strictly forbidden.
exactly, and it doesn't give the nuance that has for that particular device. It's just like anything inedible that's put inside the food is banned here.
Yeah. Oh, man, I wonder what other Christmas differences there are then between the two. I hadn't really gone into research on this because I assumed that mince pies and Christmas puddings were a thing over there.
Yeah, mince
But,
pies. I can't think of anything like that. That's both like that's got sweet and savory ingredients in it. I can't think of anything.
You
like
must
that
do
here.
jam tarts.
The fuck is a jam tart?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, imagine like the mince pie which I sent a picture of to you.
Yeah.
Now imagine you've taken the top off and it's just strawberry jam in there.
Maybe. I can think of something that looks like that.
Right. They're small, they're dinky little things. They're not like a full-size tart.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We do have them over here, but again, this is where it comes into the regional differences. They aren't a staple at the Christmas dinners that I've been to.
Okay.
So that sounds like something that may be more common in the Midwest or in the South in the U.S. for like a Christmas meal. But at least where I'm from, they don't, like on the East Coast, Northeast, they don't, at least for my family, they weren't a part of it. So like our Christmas dinners, we tended to have like ham, turkey, vegetables like corn, mashed potatoes, beans. What else am I trying to think of for desserts?
that is
usually some kind of a pie, but it's like a big pie and only a fruit pie.
Yeah. Turkey's very popular at Christmas over here.
Yeah, like a cranberry sauce too could go with stuff. Although that's usually more Thanksgiving with turkey, cranberry sauce. Some kind of like a pasta, like a mac and cheese or something like that.
I think more often we have roast potatoes instead of mashed.
Yeah. Scallop potatoes.
Yeah, definitely the cranberry sauce. Maybe either lamb or turkey. It's kind of weird because you don't really eat those meats much other times of the year.
Yeah.
Bread sauce. Bread sauce can be so good.
Is that like gravy?
No. Okay, so I'm not surprised. I think there's probably some people in England that won't have had this. It's not too dissimilar to mustard, but because it's very. It can be very strong. My grandmother, one of my grandmothers, makes her own bread sauce. And it's like, it kind of looks like porridge. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. But it's very strong, like, tang to it.
That sounds really tasty.
Yeah, and you'd have it with, like, jacket potatoes or specifically meats. Yeah. It's something that you only get at Christmas, really, in my family.
I'm trying to think of, like, what else is, like, a Christmas dish here. Yeah, a lot of these things are not really.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's things that you have in America that we don't have over here.
Do you guys have quiche?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
quiche is something that shows up at Christmas and sometimes Thanksgiving and Easter as well. It's again kind of a celebratory thing.
Yeah. Quiche is kind of a very farmery food. I think. Very nice though, it can be.
Yeah. I'm rewinding back to like last Christmas in my head, and I'm trying to picture everything that was on the table.
Yeah, over at Alicia's mother makes very nice quiche, very cheesy. I was like, oh
yeah. Quiche is it's delicious. Oh, deviled eggs.
Okay, I've heard of deviled eggs, and I think we do have them over here, but I've never had deviled eggs, whatever they are.
Deviled eggs are you hard-boil eggs, right?
Right.
Peel off the shells, and then you slice them in half and remove the yolk as a coherent. Like you remove all the yolks, so it's just like a white, just the egg white in a solid form with a little hole where the yolk was. Then you mash up all the yolks and add like mustard, spices, and some other ingredients. Mix it all together, and if you're doing it right, you put it through like one of those squeeze things you use to put like icing on pastries or cakes.
Oh yeah, one of those tubes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do that, and you just squirt it back into the hole where the yolk was taken out of. So it's hard-boiled egg white with that yolk and mustard and other spices mixture.
Yeah, like a tangy, spicy egg.
Yeah, they're delicious. They are absolutely amazing.
Does sound good. I'll have to try that at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, a very popular thing for Christmas, stuffing.
Yes, stuffing. Yeah. Although more popular and common Thanksgiving here than Christmas. You don't necessarily, even like turkey isn't like a necessity for Christmas. A lot of the time, the meat is like ham and stuff like that.
Well, we quite often just have a big chicken because everyone likes chicken.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, turkey. I'm not surprised that turkey's more common over here. Like even year round, turkey's native to North America.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably why it's more popular over there. We don't have. I don't know.
Yeah, we get them just wandering around. Like I remember, like there was one that used to wander around at my office like a few years back. I was at a different company.
Yeah, because I remember.
Sorry, what?
Jesse was speaking recently about there's like a small gang of turkeys around his area.
Oh yeah, he's in a much more rural area than I am, and yeah, I imagine that. Even the town where I lived in, which was fairly suburban, but there was still like forested areas nearby, would get deer running by the
That's
school,
good.
turkeys wandering around.
It's pretty lucky if you see a deer over here.
Hmm.
They're very cool.
Our-
Sorry.
It's fine. Our cross country course when I was in high school, I remember sometimes when we'd be running, there'd be deer that would like run with us for a while, or
Wow.
run parallel to us.
So they're not like afraid of you?
Not in that area necessarily, because they don't really. They live on. There's a reservoir near where I grew up that supplies several towns with water and stuff, and all of the land around there is protected, including like there's tons of forested areas. So the deer that live in those forest areas, like there's no hunting, so they have no real reason to be too afraid of people. Aside from like the odd kid who's gonna spook it, or they might get hit by a car or something, but people themselves, they're not like, they don't want to come near you. They're still kind of skittish, but they don't like immediately bolt away from you or try to hide.
Yeah. See, in England's obviously known for its no gun policy, but we have quite a these days a taboo history of hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we saw it in like the Peaky Blinders and stuff, didn't we? And we've hunted so many species to extinction in England that when we do see a deer now, it's like, holy shit, a deer, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite here. We have like a very positive hunting tradition in the U.S. And in fact, most of the hunting activities that go on in the U.S. Are used to fund conservation efforts. So like we have very strictly controlled hunting seasons. Poaching is a very serious crime, like in most of the rural parts of the U.S., like hunting out of season. And most of the money that people pay in getting hunting licenses and taxes on hunting gear and things like that, it goes into funding these, fish and game and wildlife services that are meant to conserve kind of the natural areas and stuff.
Yeah.
And the only negative one we have wasn't even because of hunting. It was because of a war that was on. We hunted buffalo to extinction and we didn't do it for like anything. It was just like they went out with machine guns and just took out buffalo. And the whole reason was we were currently at war with one or another like Native American nation, and they exterminated the buffalo to kill their food supply. Very, very negative, like very, very dark part of our history. But it's also the only part of our history I can think of where, like, hunting related that's actually negative. But again, it wasn't even hunting. It was really a war crime.
Yeah, with buffaloes, obviously you got the fur, which is very sought after, and also the meat, which is, there's a lot of meat on a buffalo.
Oh yeah, bison meat, like bison burgers. Oh, absolutely delicious.
When you get to like fox hunting, though, for example, fox hunting was big in England because they go out with their dogs. That's why a lot of pubs are called like the Fox and Hounds, for example.
Yeah.
Fox hunting very, very taboo because everyone sees these adorable foxes, and believe me, I regularly watch a YouTube channel called Save a Fox, and the foxes, they're so goddamn cute. Oh, they're adorable, melt your heart. But I can understand a hunter trying to protect like his
chickens,
for example, is the classic.
Yeah.
I'm not against the hunting of foxes for that reason. Like, people need to make a living. I can understand that.
Yeah.
What I'm against is the people who are taking wild foxes, raising them in horrible, horrible conditions, and then killing them for their fur when they're old enough.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also like the classic image of like the fox hunt where they're out there on it's essentially croquet, but they still get to kill something.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a fast, swift death. Then I don't know. I can't be too mad because I don't know.
The thing is,
There's lines.
there's lines and there's
sometimes.
bad stuff that's gonna happen. So it's just can you temper it with some good? One of the things that this is reminding me of, I don't know if you remember a few years back, there was a lion hunt that was going on, and this dentist from somewhere in the U.S. Paid and went out on safari, and his guides led him to the wrong area, and he ended up killing a lion that was tagged and protected. Which it happens. It's not supposed to. The guides got fined, and I think he got fined, but he got a huge hate mob, and so people. The thing that people didn't realize is because of all the awareness it got and all the protests, people weren't going over there and participating in these fully legal, fully sanctioned by the government's like lion hunts. They weren't doing it anymore, and as a result, the lion population exploded, and they ended up having to go in with machine guns and take out like 100 lions because they were starting to kill people in neighboring villages.
Jeepers, yeah.
So it's one of those things, just like how I said in the U.S., the hunting industry funds the conservation efforts and the maintenance of our national parks and things like that. Here, like it's something that not everyone likes. People don't appreciate hunting, especially when it's like sport hunting and not hunting where they're going to use the food and everything. But that thing also is used to fund the preservation and the maintenance of these natural environments and these wild animals. It's the same thing in this. I can't remember where it was in Africa. I want to say it was Kenya, but I'm not positive. These safaris, they cost like tens of thousands of dollars, and the reason they do is that money, like they pay the guides, and the guides then are supposed to bring them to areas where there is a higher than normal lion population, and they're allowed to hunt specific lions in specific areas. They do it, they get to, they kill the lion, they pay, it funds, but those safaris, that funds the entire conservation effort in that country. They don't have the tax revenue to maintain it naturally. So these hunts that they do, that's what pays for them maintaining the guides, maintaining the rangers that make sure there's no poaching, that pays for them to maintain that land and not have to sell it off to farmers or whoever, which again will hurt the natural environment. So it's something that you may not like. It may be seen as a negative, and I don't like the idea of killing lions. I think they're beautiful. But it's also like that one hunt is now making sure that the lion population is staying stable and that they can maintain those natural parks where they can kind of roam and stay in a wild environment, and they won't have to sell off the land to cities or to farmers or people who are going to change it and civilize it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the goodness of people's hearts will not generally fund all the charities in the world that we need to keep things running and keeping people happy. So, sometimes we do need to do the dirty job in order to do the good thing.
There's gray area out there, and anyone who tries to what is it, the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right, yeah.
I think we started off on Christmas. That got kind of
yeah, sorry. Kind of, you should probably bring it back again.
Yeah, but you were just starting to say something.
No. I was. I'm very much in the middle of the road on it, and I think I could do with a bit more information before I ever actually made a solid stance on where I stand. I know things that I definitely think are wrong. I know things that I definitely think are right. but there is a blurred line somewhere between hunting for fun
Yeah.
and hunting to preserve a way of life.
Yeah. And I mean, there are I have people in my family that go out hunting. But again, a lot of them live out in the Midwest. And my uncle, up in New Hampshire, he used to go hunting all the time. Up in New Hampshire, I don't see anything wrong with it. There were hunting activities that were sketchy and really messed up that I can't even understand why people did them. Like there was what was it? There was a controversial practice that was done decades ago, I want to say. Maybe it still happens some places, I don't know. But essentially it'd be like rich people would rent a helicopter. They'd go up in a helicopter and they would buzz areas to try and chase animals into, like, away from protected areas into areas where they're allowed to hunt them.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of funky.
And then they'd kill them from the helicopter using, whatever weapon they happen to have. Not only is that, because if you are hunting for sport, there's a level of skill to it, right? Like,
yeah, and there's kind of.
That's why I have a lot of respect for the people who go like bow hunting, because there's a skill to it. You gotta like actually creep through the forest and like stalk the animal that you're hunting and stuff like that. And there's a level of skill to actually using the bow.
You can't just be an idiot that walks around with a gun shooting at things.
Yeah, although I will say, you also need to be pretty skilled to accurately hunt an animal with a gun.
Well, true, but if you're walking around with a minigun or something, I mean.
Well, yeah. Oh my god.
They're not out just for the kill. They're out for
the sport of it,
the hunt,
and the actual the whole thing. I got a funny story, but say what you were. I think you just started to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. There's a hunting channel, like there's an ESPN channel that's all hunting, and it was one of the. We had just basic cable in our apartment when I was in college, my sophomore year, and we would sometimes just put it on to whatever channel was available, just to have background noise. And one day we had it on the ESPN hunting channel, and we were just laughing at this guy because, first of all, slightly overweight dude in full camo, wearing like a ghillie suit, crouched against a tree, so completely invisible. He's got a revolver, like a high caliber revolver, on a tripod with a scope. So he's like he's basically, he doesn't have to.
A revolver with a tripod.
A revolver. It was a high caliber revolver, tripod, scope, probably like a 44 Magnum or something like that.
Yeah.
Long barrel, and he's got like a rifle scope on top of the revolver. And what is this guy hunting? A turkey. The turkey is like 20 feet away from him. It doesn't see him because he's essentially blended in completely. This guy could have been hunting like anything in that getup, and he's hunting a fucking turkey with a revolver on a
any
tripod.
Turkey left if it's high enough caliber.
Well, that's the thing. We were watching this in college, laughing at the guy. Like, what the fuck? Why does he need all of that kit to hunt a turkey?
Jesus.
That
reminds me of is it George's Marvelous Medicine, the Roald Dahl book?
I've never heard of it.
It's all about a father and son who they're quite poor, I think, and it's kind of a bit of a tradition to go to the local hunting grounds where the rich people hunt grouse and stuff, and bag themselves a grouse so they could eat it for Christmas, kind of thing. I think it was Christmas. It might not have been. And so, sorry to spoil the plot for anyone. It's a very old book, Roald Dahl, very famous. This little boy thinks, I know, if we take sleeping medicine, basically, crush it up, put it in with grouse feed, bury it in the ground, and then when the grouse eat it, they'll fly up into their trees like they always do at a particular time. And when all the hunters have left, because all the grouse are in the trees, the grouse will start falling asleep and fall out of the trees.
Yeah.
I think that's just the idea of it is very, very genius, and
Yeah.
it does obviously take the fun out of the hunt, I suppose, but it is a different kind of hunt. Like
This is I think where there needs to be a distinction. Like, if you're hunting for sport, right? Obviously, I think that you should still use as much of the animal as possible after you've hunted it.
Oh yeah, but
if you're not
poor people, they ate everything.
That's what I was about to get to. I was about to say
Yeah.
when you're hunting for like survival, like for food and stuff like that, I don't really think there's such a thing as unsporting, because you're doing it at the very basic level to eat. Like,
Yeah. And they had like all the village people, the vicar, farrier, all the kinds of the people around the village all came and ate from this bounty, basically, rather than, it's kind of a middle finger up to the rich people, but it makes for a nice story.
Well, yeah, it combines like cleverness, some wholesome community values, and saying "fuck you" to the rich, all into one book. Also, I have an idea what it is in my head. What the fuck is a grouse? Like, it's some kind of a bird, right? Like a pheasant?
I mean, you've drunk the famous grouse whiskey, right?
I've seen it. I've never had it. I think one of my friends had it in his bar.
I cannot pronounce any of those words. I just looked up grouse and... oh, maybe it's...
Oh, okay. I see the bird.
Yeah, it's like a not colourful version of the...
It kind of looks like a combination between a turkey and a pigeon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think we have these over here. It does. It looks like a combination between a turkey and a pigeon. That is so weird. I've heard grouse. The only way I've ever heard of a grouse is because of the whiskey, but I've never seen a real one until I now am looking up the images of them right now.
But yeah, they're very chicken-like. Except I imagine they're probably a bit bigger. That's probably why they're like farmed.
Yeah.
The more you know.
All right. Well, now I have a new thing that I want to eat.
Free range, of course, and all those other good things.
Yeah.
I think if there's something that can be taken away from today, it's that there's no certainties in any of these things, and as we've said before, if you want to find out more about some subject, go and look it up yourself, because there will be far better sources than us to talk about this.
Well, right, exactly. We're just the whole stated purpose of this. It's just two guys having a conversation. I mean, some of this stuff, there's some stuff that we are relatively well informed about. This probably isn't one of them.
We like to bring attention to the topics so that other people can talk about them in more depth.
And I know hunting is always a tricky one. I didn't know there's people that's going to get pissed about that.
So don't if someone else doesn't agree with you, don't be like, oh, you're an idiot kind of thing. Listen to their point of view and have a good conversation as opposed to just an argument.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment.
Yeah, I mean, can you comment on the other platforms?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I
suppose that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey,
if you could, comment on YouTube.
And now you can respond to us on Twitter.
Yep. There's going to be hopefully a Christmas post, relating to the topic we just discussed, up this week.
Yeah, not a post at Christmas, although we may do one of those as well.
So if anyone does want to give us their 5 pence, then you can absolutely do it there.
Is that how you say it in the UK? Like when you're asking for
something-
somebody's thoughts, do you say 5 pence?
I think it's 5 pence. When I was saying it, I was like, is that
Yeah.
the right word? It's something very similar to that. I think it is that.
In the U.S., we say 2 cents.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it. And I think I just got that.
You just made it more British.
I did. I English-fied it, which is hilarious because normally it's Americanized. I did the opposite.
Yeah. Which is interesting because there was a TV show. Sorry, this is the last thing I'll say because we're near the end anyway. But there was a TV show I was watching. TV show is called Mad Men, one of my favorite TV shows. But it's set in the 1960s, and mostly in an office environment. And there's a point where the office is taken over by the company's bought out by a British company, and at the time the phrase, like, if you're going to give somebody like a quick tour of something in the US, you'd say, like, do you want the nickel tour, right?
Right, yeah.
So 5 cents. And this one British guy, he's kind of like the office admin, is offering to show the British executives that were over investigating or inspecting the company, just seeing how things were doing. He's like, "Shall I give you the 3 penny tour?" And I was wondering, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, is that like kind of? It's interesting how we've talked a lot about US versus UK, but.
I'm surprised he would have said 3 penny instead of threepence.
Well,
because that's something that used to be said.
Yeah, I mean, but in the 1960s, I mean, that was only 50 years ago.
Wait, 50 years ago?
60 years ago. Oh my God, it's 2020 already.
Yeah, I was like, hang on, numbers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the 90s feel like they're still 10 years ago, but they're 20. Oh well, okay. This is we've honestly covered quite the gambit this time.
Yeah.
But I guess Any final thoughts before we close out for the podcast?
I thought I did quite a good final thoughts on with the whole "don't be an asshole" comments.
All right, there we go. That's it. Final thought: don't be an asshole. All right, this is the end of the TMCJ podcast, episode 13. Thank you all for listening, and we hope that you will come back and listen to us again soon.
Have a good week.